My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. As you might have seen, I just recorded a little blooper there. I mean, none of this is uploaded yet, but the blooper will be uploaded before this video is, so it'll be there by the time you see this. But in that little blooper, I just got a little cut on my thumbs. A knife kind of probably went through the guard a little bit and might have used a little too much force there. But here we're going to go along this next little step now. And I say with this, just kind of move along here. That's what we're going to do. Try to remove a little excess wood around here, and maybe, just maybe, I guess you could probably say that since English Bulldogs probably have much stronger, tougher muscles in their forelegs and shoulders, we might kind of just, I'd say, cut it along this way and maybe even consider, let's say, leaving it that way. Maybe we might not have to go up so much more. I say just kind of make it where we sort of put the little work down to the legs and make it so it's going to be a nice little bulldog. And I'd say probably just kind of make this other little cut along here to try to remove from the other side of the shoulder as well, and kind of make it so it's going to be a strong little critter. And oh, the work that comes right into it, I say, is just big bulldog, like old Butch the Bulldog. Makes you think how there was all that, like I used to listen to Ray Stevens' Christmas album, and there was a little song about some little rocket he shot off, and there was a little cat that was attached to the rocket and landed in Butch the Bulldog's backyard, as he kind of stated in the song. I mean, it was kind of a little funny thing here and there. Not sure what we all think of when things come about and go about in life and make what we see of them, you know, it's just kind of what we're working at, to make things a little sculpture of what we have and do and say, and people kind of come and go to make, oh, this little time in our lives when we're just doing gracious little things. I say, sometimes, Humane Society's always been a good place where they always kind of adopted and took care of dogs, and sometimes even at that place, where you go out and adopt them, I mean, they really haven't had all their shots yet or all their flea tick removals and stuff. And I think what kind of gets to be a shame is that sometimes I've heard in those kennels that they get so overcrowded that they end up putting more dogs to sleep. It might be kind of a horrible thing, but It's kind of unfortunate how that kind of gets to be the way it goes sometimes. I'd say we're kind of working along to make this little thing where we sort of do this kind of extra work into the body to make it so we have such a collateral little head that sculpts its way down into heaven and earth, and my, you couldn't say enough for all this. It could all just be little ways that you see a bright little light kind of coming in, taking you down and throwing you across the room. Well, here I'd say we've got a little bit of effort made. I think we're going to take a same little step along this little English Bulldog too. Try to remove wood from in front of him and to his leg. Kind of take that same little step and kind of remove what's all the access there. Kind of try to give this little Butch the Bulldog some of the strange little strong shoulders, and think about how I mentioned in a previous video to this series the old Tom and Jerry cartoon, and there was that one where the Bulldog was playing the lifeguard on the beach, and poor little kitty cat trying to catch the mouse, Tom trying to catch Jerry, took the kid's shovel and tried to dig the mouse up out of the sand. And I say Butch the Bulldog, you know, kind of got a little mad just being the guard with the cat and saying, "Oh, cat, you took the kid's shovel and think you need to go for a swim." Things about those old cartoons. They played and played on the TV when I was a kid, and we all just kind of knew that they had their channels. And all the neat little things we kind of see with our work, kind of with all things. It was always strange what we thought about as kids, and I say that this is a time to dig into these upper legs, into these little abdomens of these dogs, and I say just kind of get a little extra wood out of the puppy dog and remove it to where it's going to be such a kind little puppy of little Butch the Bulldog, I say, and take him down to where he's going to be nice little pups, and what they do for all of you and all of me. And you know, like I kind of was out at a little craft show once and kind of mistook a French Bulldog for a pug. Lady was walking it on a leash, and I walked up to it and said, "Hey, Puggy," but she kind of mentioned to me it was actually a French Bulldog there. So that's probably a thing where I kind of learned a thing or two about them a little more, and probably would say there's been enough requests for dogs in my life that I just learn a little bit more about them and try to do the different breeds. There was a time when I did this Bark in the Park show that was hosted by the Humane Society, where since it was a dog adopting show, I decided to make a lot of dogs for that show. That was how I got started making dog breeds out of wood, and kind of got started making up the patterns and carving them out accordingly, because believe it or not, you know, there are so many different kinds of creatures I've been interested in learning about ever since I was a kid. Makes me think of all the wild animals that as a kid I wanted to keep as pets, ones you could not legally keep as a pet. That was kind of how it was back in the days, and when I used to think that if you had a certain type of license you could. I mean, and I say that there's probably been a time when if you had a certain kind of animal, you could get a permit to keep a wild animal as a pet, but not to sell it to other people. Because back when I was 11 years old, I wrote a little letter to the wildlife people of Kentucky to ask what kind of animals I could legally keep as pets. There were probably quite a few that were mentioned in there as being illegal, and I say there were so many I thought if you had a special kind of license you could keep, but they always just kind of change the laws around so much. And it's been to my attention that there's been this place called Wolf Run that is down in Nicholasville, Kentucky, because back during my senior year in high school, I went down there to do some work as part of a certain school program, a job-based school program, where I went down there to sort of learn about the work and the jobs, and thinking at that time about being a zookeeper, went down there and just learned a few little particular special things about it, and just kind of came down to what it was to be. And so you see here, kind of got the little carving out to the best way it can come. I will say that there's just probably a thing or two left to go about, but while we are just still at it, and there's this other one here, might give it a few of the same little simple steps we took. Try to remove excess wood from the butt and the tail and along the back, and try to remove from up the top of the hip, and kind of try to take little Butch the Bulldog to just a little special place in life. And oh, I say it's just kind of the special little steps we're going to take. Guess he can kind of come out a little furry and come out with a few facets in the wood, a little wrinkles here and there. That's kind of what makes him look like a real furry dog. And how we kind of work about this, you know, like with little Santas I carved, they tell you to let the facets show in the wood so that you can kind of be able to see how it will look like a beard to a Santa. And as for the same ways, just kind of make it look like fur to a dog. Probably would say I've done that already with a few dogs I've carved, even that Cocker Spaniel I carved a while back and brought it to that lady and that girl, and they said it looked just like her Cocker Spaniel. I mean, it's like, you know, some people, they just kind of like little carvings of animals that are just like their pets. Probably why cats and dogs get to be among the most popular things. They're among things people keep as pets, and probably told you this story in a previous video, but can't remember. I was out at Walmart last night shopping for groceries, and just so happened that there was a lady that had two medium-sized kittens in the cart where she was pushing it along. Kind of came up to the cart and petted one of them real quick and went away. She just kind of giggled a little bit, got tickled by that, because I say that it's always neat just going to places, finding cute little animals that are in people's carts and stuff. And like when we did Bark in the Park at the ballpark, when I worked there, it was like there were certain dogs, I'd walk up to them and pet them, and some of them were probably not the friendliest with strangers. They'd kind of growl and almost bite you, so I kind of had to get away. And some of them, they probably didn't like the smell of that cleaner I was carrying around, so they barked a lot when I started to pet them a lot, and I even heard that some of them were even afraid of the big mascots. They were shy about them. They kind of hid behind their owners when the big mascots came around in the big costumes, because wasn't what they were used to seeing. Once as a teen, I was out on my bicycle and trying to pet a dog that a lady was walking, and she thought the dog was scared of the bicycle because he hadn't seen many of these. And then there was a year when I was at a family reunion getting ready to play my guitar to this little dog that my aunt and uncle had, and it started barking, and it got loose from the leash, and I still had the guitar strapped to my back as I chased it to try to catch it and pet it, and they said, "Don't, it's scared of your guitar." So it was also kind of interesting, because what I heard was that my uncle had a guitar back at the house, and it wasn't so afraid of that one. My aunt didn't know what the difference was. So I say, with all I've got to share and all I've got to say, I thank you all for coming on, watching, listening, seeing what all I can do, seeing what all I have to show. Have so much more to say in the next video, so hopefully I will see you then. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.